and we have our first case before us. We are at the State Police Barracks this morning. Would the staff at the barracks please introduce yourself for the record?
Lieutenant Jeremy Burns, Executive Officer.
Captain Patrick Washington, Commander.
Lisa Frazier, classification.
Okay, and would staff here at DOC headquarters please introduce yourself for the record?
And I am Carla Williams.
All right. Let me introduce the pardon board members. My name is Cheryl Renatz. I'm chairman today. We have, as you heard at the roll call, I suppose you heard that, Mr. Toussaint, did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we don't need to do the introductions. Would you introduce yourself to us, sir? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Toussaint Ridgeway, 349584.
And Mr. Ridgeway, you are represented by counsel. Counsel, would you introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning. My name is Emily Lubin, representing Toussaint Ridgeway, and I would like to reserve my remarks for the end if the board allows. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ridgeway, we have joining us this morning, we have representing the victim, we have Courtney Sanders, Stacy Mitchell, and Donnie Centers. Two of those individuals will be speaking at the appropriate time. We'll ask them to do so. Here in support, we have the Parole Project and your mother, Ms. Ridgeway, brother, Mr. Ridgeway, both who want to speak on your behalf, and we'll ask them to do so. First, let me just read some identifying information into the record, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Marabella. Your case has been assigned to him, and he'll take the lead on the meeting. Mr. Ridgeway, as mentioned, your DOC number is 349584. You're here this morning seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Lincoln Parish in May of 1995 to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you answer Mr. Marabella's questions, please?
Good morning, Mr. Ridgeway. My name is Tony Marabella. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
I'm trying to go to that. Mr. Ridgeway, how old are you, sir?
53.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
It'll be 29 years next month.
By my calculation, I had it written down here. I can't seem to find it right now. How old were you at the time of the offense? 24, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about Toussaint Ridgeway at 24 years old. Tell me what was going on in your life at 24.
I was an immature 24-year-old trying to go to college. I had a young daughter. I was trying to take care of her. And I was kind of all over the place, back and forth between Louisiana and California, and just trying to hold everything together.
You were in college at the time?
Yes, sir.
So you graduated high school?
Yes, sir.
And how much college did you have?
3 years.
Drugs or alcohol involved at all for the 24-year-old Mr. Ridgeway?
No, sir.
So tell me what happened. How did this come about that you guys decided to rob Roy Lee Whitfield?
I was contacted by Roy Whitfield, the victim in my crime, who I knew from California. He wanted me to set up or obtain some drugs for him on his behalf. I never intended on obtaining any drugs for him, nor did I have any drugs. I just planned to take the money from him and leave him in limbo.
Well, let me ask this. Why would Mr. Whitfield think you could get some drugs for him?
I had done it for him prior in California.
So you had been involved in drug sales maybe, but not using drugs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your drug sales in California. What did you do and how long did you do that?
A few times until I was caught. I had drugs on my possession, and after that, I stopped. I was more so the middleman.
Okay, so tell me about what happened with the robbery. You intended to take his money, so what happened?
So we met up and we ended up getting into a verbal altercation, which led to physical altercation, and I ended up shooting and killing him. After realizing what I'd done, I tried to cover up what had happened by cleaning up the crime scene and setting his body afire.
Did Mr. Young help you at all with that? Was he involved in that at all, Marcus Young?
To some degree, sir, yes.
But you're the one that actually did the killing. You're the one that actually burned the body.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ridgeway, tell me a little bit about what has happened to you since you've been in prison. You've been in prison for 29 years now. Tell me a little bit about some of the programs that you've taken.
I've taken a lot of programs. Initially, when I first came into prison, I started taking a lot of church courses and classes because I found some kind of comfort in going back to my roots. I was raised in the church, and so I felt the most comfort in attending those classes and trying to take an honest look at myself, take responsibility for what had taken place, and just trying to become a better person. So you will see initially, I applied myself in a lot of church oriented courses and classes.
I've seen all the certificates. You've got several pages of certificates. So tell me how that has helped you. Tell me what you got out of those spiritual programs and how they helped you change if you've changed.
It helped me to become a better man, a mature man. It enabled me to realize what I had done and take responsibility for it. I've just strived every day to be a better person.
What are some of the other programs that you've taken? I see you've taken substance abuse, anger management. You were involved in Point Lookout, Toastmasters. What did you get out of those programs?
I was able to, in Point Lookout, I was able to work with other individuals to make sure that the people who were in prison and died alone, that didn't have family members, that I was able to see that they had a proper burial. So I tried to immerse myself into helping others and doing what I could do to see to it. I took victim awareness class where I was able to hear from a rape victim who shared her story of pain and anguish and the effects of the crime. And I was even later able to hear from her mother, who shared her experience from what she lived through and trying to help her daughter. And this really opened my mind and gave me a sense of what the Whitfield family was going through. So this really tremendously helped me.
Talk about a little bit about where you are now. You're at the police barracks now?
Yes, sir, where I've been for the last 15 years.
So tell me a little bit about the jobs that you've had since you've been at the police barracks.
When I came to the police barracks, I came to the governor's mansion as a tailor. I was able to work my way up as a tailor, where I saw to doing the clothing or furniture or whatever was needed. Later, I was moved to a chef position where I still maintain, where I cook for not only the first family, but I also cook for events and staff, etc.
And you worked in the governor's mansion under Governor Jindal as well as Governor Edwards, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to say to the board today, how you've changed and why should we vote to grant you a commutation today?
I would first like to thank the board for this opportunity to come before. Taking Roy's life should have never happened. I'm truly sorry for my actions that led to his life being lost. And every day I've lived with what I have done, and I tried to work towards becoming a better person. I'm not the same 24-year-old, that immature that I was back then, almost 3 decades ago. And so I've strived to become a better person and to do all the things that I could to be successful if ever I had the opportunity to return to society. So every day I have tried to do all that I can to just be a better person, a better man. And I'm not the same that I was almost 3 decades ago.
Mr. Ridgeway, you've had 6 write-ups in 29 years. Your last write-up, I believe, was in 1998. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You've got, I just want to state a couple of things for the record that there's nothing you can do about. There is opposition to your commutation. Law enforcement is opposed to your commutation. The victim's family is opposed to your commutation. You have many letters of support. You got support from prison staff, from the governor, from many people who've written letters on behalf, attesting to who you've become while you've been in prison. Tell me a little bit about your transition plan if you were granted a commutation and ultimately released. Where would you live? What would you do?
Well, I've been accepted to go to the parole project where I plan to initially go. I also have a residence with a college friend of mine, Cheryl Myers, who has offered a residence for me to stay. My short-term goal is to get a job in a restaurant, and at the same time, I plan to acquire my CDL license. I plan to work my way up and learn the business. And my long-term goal is to either open a restaurant or drive trucks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ridgeway. Lieutenant, what can y'all tell us about Mr. Ridgeway?
You said
Whoever, I'll let you both tell me.
Okay. Well, one thing that I would point out is Mr. Ridgeway's been at the mansion for 15 years, and that's no short feat. It's a testament to his character and his work ethic that he could stay in that same place for that length of time. Other than him being extremely nervous this morning, we have had zero issues with him. He's a pleasure to be around. He has a good support system, not only here, but outside. So, yeah, I'm trying to get him to relax and smile a little bit, but he's real nervous.
It's a tough day for him, and I understand that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Marabella. Okay, we'll hear from supporters now. Could we hear from the Parole Project?
Yes, good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. Here to tell you that Mr. Ridgeway is a client of Parole Project. We have accepted him. I think that you have seen Mr. Ridgeway's sincerity, his remorse. Essentially, what you've seen is the character of a man who recognized the gravity of his actions 29 years ago. Mr. Ridgeway committed a crime. I think you can see here that he doesn't have a criminal mentality, and that is a significant difference. He spent all of his time working to be a person who can at least honor the life that he took. His work with Point Lookout Project, his work with something that wasn't said with the Human Relations Club at Angola, which is a service organization, shows that he cares about people. Mr. Ridgeway has been in trusted positions almost the entire time he's been incarcerated. And for the last 15 years, it was said he's been at the state police barracks, and he's worked under 2 governors. We would just encourage this board to grant Mr. Ridgeway a recommendation today that would make him eligible for release. Thank you.
Could we hear from Mrs. Ridgeway, Ms. Portia Ridgeway?
Okay. I have noticed a great change in my son. His disposition has changed completely. And as a teen and young adult, he thought that everyone that he knew was his friend. And he kept company with people who were negative influence and was disobedient to both God and man's law. It helped him to go astray. He is much wiser now and is willing to listen to sound doctrine. I've watched him develop into a mature, caring, responsible adult. And he expressed to me remorse for what he has done and to other members of the family. He has taken responsibility for what he has done and the thing that has landed him in prison. I was very happy to learn that he had taken advantage of several of your programs, and it has made him a productive individual. I understand that he has served and earned several certificates, and upon completion, he has really shown me that he is truly serious about turning his life around. With these valuable learning skills, like cooking, he has definitely developed good work ethics, which would really be beneficial to him if given a chance to be on the outside. In my opinion, he is not a danger to society. God has given a purpose for his life, and I hope that you will give him a second chance to find out what that purpose would be, and that you were right for giving him a second chance. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mrs. Ridgeway. Mr. Bruce, can we hear from you?
Yes. Well, I'd like to say, I echo the sentiment spoken here today that he has changed. He's done a 180. The person that he went in as is not the person he is today. He's very remorseful, as has been spoken. He's a completely changed man. The facilities there are supposed to be about rehabilitation. Well, he has truly been rehabilitated. As far as on the outside, I have rental property. So if he decides to come this way, he has a home to stay in. I also am involved with a mentorship group through the school district. So he has an opportunity to work with youth, to speak to some of the troubled youth about his experiences, to try to help people turn around. I also do private security, and the owner privately owns it, is promised that he has a job. So he has a roof over his head. He has a job waiting for him if he comes this way. He can also work through the school district here, working with troubled youths. Also, I'm involved with a men's Bible study group, and the pastor has shared with me that he welcomes him with love to come in and join our Bible study group. So therefore, he can be led by the Lord to continue to be on the right path. So thank you.
Sir, thank you both for your comments are important. And you all are in California?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, now we'll hear from the opposition. Could we hear from Courtney Sanders?
I'm opposed because I'm not the same when this happened. My family is not the same. I have a brother that struggles each and every day because of the trauma that was caused. My kids will never be able to see my father. My kids would never be able to shake hands or give a hug with my father. I'm opposed not because my father was murdered, because the way he was murdered. This has haunted me for years, and it's haunting me today.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sanders. Thank you for your remarks. It's important to process. And here with us in Baton Rouge is Stacy. Stacy.
My name is Stacy Mitchell.
Speak
I'm
up.
the oldest child of one. My father was murdered when I was 18 years old. The last time I saw him was at my graduation. My brother and my sister were 16. My other brothers was like 2 and maybe 9. This man took away our rock, our family's rock. My father is my first son. My father was my best friend. He provided for us. He took care of us. And it was took away. My family has suffered a lot. My grandmother, who was here all those times for coming to court and doing all those things, had already been lenient because she allowed for this whole, she didn't want him murdered. She didn't want to keep, well, my father was murdered. She didn't want him to, she did church and she didn't believe in the death penalty and all of that. So I was here during that time. I would say forget it before, so I would have to relive this over and over and over again. There's not one day that my family does not suffer, that does not feel the impact of my father not being with us. I have 2 children and I have a grandbaby that he would never see, that would never ever get a chance to see or experience the time that we had with my father. This man is 50-some years old. I'm 48. I've changed too. I've changed a lot. A lot. They said at one time I had religion. I still love God. I questioned, how could this happen? This man called himself a friend of my father's. A friend. My father died at the hands of someone who called himself. Toussaint talks about how he's changed. My whole family has changed. My brother, one of my brothers diagnosed with bipolar. I truly believe it's because of the traumatic experience that he experienced at a young age. Each one of my family members, including myself, is still dealing with counseling and mental health issues, depression. So he said he's changed. I'm glad he found God. I work at a school, principal of a school. His services that he wants to offer, he can offer them with the new technology that we have. He can offer them through just like what we're doing through Zoom. If he's changed, let him continue to change there. Because the last time I was here was the first time in 20-something years that he ever admitted what he'd done. His mama didn't know. His brothers didn't know. Nobody knew that he murdered my father. This is the second time that he's actually said that in front of my presence and in front of everybody the last time he was here. So his healing process, his rehabilitation process just started less than 6 years ago. 29 years of my father being gone. I'm still healing.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Mitchell, could you wrap it up for us, please, ma'am?
If it was up to me, it's up to my family. He will live there and he will die there. If he wants to change and he's still and he's real, it's easy to change behind closed doors. It's easy to change when you're not in society. It's easy to change when you're not dealing with real issues of life. Life has changed a lot in 29 years. He's not ready.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, before we turn it over to your attorney, Mr. Ridgeway, is there a statement you'd like to make to the board?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to first thank this board for the opportunity to speak. Roy's life should have never been taken. And this is something that I have to live with every day. I am truly, truly sorry for the pain and suffering that I've caused the Whitfield family and for all those that have been affected. The 29 years that I have spent incarcerated, I've tried to work diligently to become a better human being, a better person, to equip myself with all the tools that I could possibly equip myself with. So if ever I was given an opportunity, I could be successful at re-entry into society. I am truly sorry, and I thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ms. Lubin, you want to wrap it up for us?
Yes, thank you. As he appears before you today, Mr. Ridgeway is fully rehabilitated. He did commit a horrific crime that he does take full responsibility for. And as he said, that sits with him every day. And through his time while he's been incarcerated, he has truly taken a look at himself, returning to the lessons that his parents taught him that he ignored in the way that led him down the path to this crime. He's returned to those lessons, returned to his religion, consistently taken programs and classes to improve himself and to address the root causes of what motivated him to go down that wrong path in the first place. Today, he is honest, hardworking, intelligent, introspective. He's committed to service, as you've heard, service to others. If he were to be released, he wants to continue that service by preventing others from going down that same path. He does have his daughter and 4 grandchildren, and already he speaks to his grandchildren to try to make sure that they do not follow his choices. He is trusted in his residence at the police barracks, his job at the governor's mansion, his role as head chef, managing other individuals and cooking for the first family, as well as other staff. His lack of recent disciplinary history also shows his serious commitment to rehabilitation and to personal growth. And I believe that truly Mr. Ridgeway is a different person, as he has said, than the person that committed this crime, and that he would not pose a threat to society if he were to be released. And in fact, he has shown concrete plans for his housing, for his employment, and for his potential contributions if he were to be released. So I respectfully request that this board recommend commutation of Mr. Ridgeway's sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I believe we're prepared to vote. Mr. Marabella will be voting first.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First off, I'd like to thank the family of the victim Whitfield here today. I'm pretty old guy. I've lost some loved past, but I've never lost a loved one to crime such as you've been the victim of. I can't imagine how painful that is. Very passionate in your description of what you've suffered all this time. So I really want to thank you for being here. It's a very important part of our process. Mr. Ridgeway, I've listened to you today. I think you've been very honest in your comments. You've got opposition. You've obviously heard that. You've got law enforcement opposition. You are a low risk. You have completed some excellent programs. Your disciplinary record is very good. You have excellent comments from prison staff as well as all of the people that you've worked with. You're in a very trusted position, and you've been there for many years. You have accepted responsibility. You have a good transition plan. Based upon all of those things, taking all of those factors into account, I am convinced that you're not the same person that you were. My vote today would be to recommend to the governor that he commute your sentence to 60 years and that you be immediately parole eligible. One of 5 votes. It's 1 vote. That's my vote. Good luck to you, sir.
I concur with Mr. Marabella with the same stipulation.
It's hard. This is hard because there is so much pain and grief attached to this case. You can feel it, you see it, feel it. And it's difficult. But my role here today will take everything into consideration. I will assure you, every case we have today will be difficult. And so we have to look at the whole picture. We have to take into account the Whitfield family and what they've gone through. We also have to take into account Mr. Ridgeway and who he's become. Based on his 29 years of incarceration, his excellent disciplinary record, positive comments from everyone associated with him. Likewise, my vote would be to grant a recommendation for commutation to 60
Thank you. Mr. Rocha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Ridgeway.
Come on, sir.
The crime that you committed was a crime of greed. You were 23 years old, you had a daughter, you were finishing your third year of college, and you thought you could make some easy. But I've looked at the 29 years that you've been incarcerated. You've taken excellent programs. I've reviewed all your work evaluations for the last 10 or 15 years. Every one of those work evaluations were excellent. Excellent programs. Last time we had a write-up was 1998, 25 years ago. You have fulfilled your obligation. I think that you're rehabilitated and you can become a productive member of society. For those reasons, I'm going to agree with my colleagues and commute your sentence.
All right, Mr. Ridgeway, you've got the vote. You've got 4 votes, so you know what's going to happen today. I will just say I did concur with my colleagues, and I wanted to mention in your application, you tell us that when you became incarcerated, you made a conscious decision to become a better human being. And so you worked real hard on yourself, and it's obvious. My vote today also is to make the recommendation that your sentence be commuted to 16 years. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You can breathe now, good fellow.
Let's unpack it. Unfortunately, there's some type of problem. He did appeal his sentence. When you Google his name, it comes up as denied, but they share no details. I Googled and Googled and Googled, and I tried looking up his co-defendant. I just couldn't find anything on a legal record of this. If you can somehow find it, I don't know the location I'm in doing these recordings because I'm not in my normal place. I have like this window that is messing up which is why it looks like I'm floating. We'll do a hearing after this also. So this is not it. We'll do another one. Maybe we'll do a third. It depends how long it goes. I'm not sure. But because I don't have the details, I can't really go over more than what we've already seen here. And, you know, Mr. Roche, No Way Roche, as we now call him, is the victim's advocate. But I think that if he checks all the boxes in terms of serving 29 years, which is 4 years over the 25 years that they like to look for, and all these things, even with the victims being still, you can see just so greatly affected, he still voted him through. And then the question that you ask is that right? Is that okay? There are a few things that stick out to me that really does bother me. And I mean, I think the main one is that he, according to the victim, absolutely denied being guilty of this crime. Up until I think 6 years ago when he finally admitted it for the first time. So this was the second time that he finally accepted that he was the one that did it. Apparently, probably part of his trial was blaming it on his co-defendant, claiming that he wasn't the one that did any of it. So for all those years, like the victim said, he was in denial, which I think says all you need to know about his character. I wouldn't even call it denial. I would just call it lying. And then when he realized that he would need to accept it to get free, he accepted it. For me, that tells me kind of everything I need to know about him. He didn't accept guilt. He was claiming he was innocent until 6 years ago. Now, maybe on the flip side, it's not entirely accurate. 6 years ago, I think probably would have been his first commutation hearing, because they weren't doing commutation hearings before that. The laws hadn't passed yet. So it is possible that he insisted he was innocent, and he did admit his guilt a few years into his sentence and accepted it. And the reason that the first time the victim heard him say it 6 years ago is because that was his first opportunity to say it publicly. That could be too. So, that's possible as well, which, if that is the case, it changes my outlook a little bit, or a lot bit, because again, I think denying it up until you can get free is sketchy. And if that wasn't the case, it just does change things. But the bottom, like Mr. O'Shea touched on, the bottom line is that he committed this crime out of complete greed. He said this man was his friend. He had him come in. It's his friend. He knows he has kids. He's a father. He's a son. He's a brother. He tries to set him up. It doesn't go as when he tries to basically steal money from him in a fake deal gone bad. Doesn't go his way. He offs him, and then he lights his body on fire. What does that say about someone? Not only that, but in Mr. Ridgway's final, statements, or even this entire hearing, he was saying the words, "I was immature back then. I was immature." Immature? Taking your friend's life and lighting his body on fire is not immature. There's something wrong with you, but it's definitely not immature. And I just don't understand how all those years being locked up, you could choose those words to describe yourself and why you acted a certain way at your commutation hearing 29 years after doing it. You would choose immature instead of just getting down to the truth. You were greedy. There was something wrong with you. You had a defect. I don't know, say something. Not immature. Gosh, is there really a lawnmower right now? It's like all day, every day right now. I'm staying in a different place. I'm not in my normal, and I just don't know how it's possible that every day there's someone else mowing their lawn. Why can't everyone do it on the same day? There should be like rules that the community all agrees to mow their lawn on the same day. Why not? It drives me nuts. It's a pet peeve. It really is, because it's unbelievable. Like, why would anyone want to live in a place where all day you just hear lawnmowers? Even the victim said it. I'm opposed not because his life was taken, but in the way it was taken. And I think he has a point. There's something really wrong with this person. And he was 24. He was 24 years old when he did it. He was in his third year of college. This isn't like, I mean, there has to be something wrong with him, right? And it's interesting when they said life sentence was a life sentence, and then these new rules pass, and he can get it commuted by the governor, and the governor, he hasn't signed it yet, right? This only makes him eligible for parole, which means The family can come back again if the governor signs off on it, and there will be another parole hearing, which we will film. But often the parole hearings are like 99.9% of the time, really, that I feel that much, at least 99% of the time, are very short. They're 10, 15 minutes long, and we have that I can recall one parole hearing after a sentence was commuted that was denied. But that was because the family had shown up and wasn't invited to the previous one, and it did make a big difference. They claimed they never got the invite. But and this felt like a little bit of a, they didn't really go deep into, like, when I saw Mr. Marabella being the one to ask the questions, I kind of felt good about it. But because this guy said he didn't have any addiction problem, Mr. Marabella just like, well, not really, I guess my thing. But no one dived in. No one asked tough questions. I felt like it was a very, I think, predetermined hearing. I think they were going to commute him regardless. I mean, 15 years working at the governor's mansion, I think that might be the most I can recall anyone working at the governor's mansion. It's very difficult to work through 2 terms of the government because you need both. Like, governors like to just swap out the staff and hire new, right? So that someone could make it through one governor leaving and another one coming is, it does, either it's luck, combination of luck, or he just was that good at what he did. I don't know. But another thing that bothered me is in his final statement, he said, I have to live with the fact that I took his life. I have to live with it every day of my life. And it's like another bad word choice. You have to live with it. Poor you, right? You took his life. Now you have to live with it. I don't know. There's something off about it. Now they say, well, 29 years is a long time to be served. People, these days they get 25 to life, and he has had a perfect system record and has done everything in his power to do the best that he can in prison. And we shouldn't take it for granted. We've seen plenty of people serving his kind of time that don't do that. So the question is it has the system done what it has to do? It protected, it punished, it rehabilitated. So now has he earned his freedom? Well, that's a question that we can always debate about. Let's do the next hearing here. Okay. Let's jump in. Sometimes I skip it right through to the start, but sometimes I think it's interesting to wait in the silence for the hearing to start. If you can imagine.
Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record. You're on mute.
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
John McGinnis, 349430.
Hey, John, my name is Brendan Kelsey. Along with me is Michelle Renato. Mr. Tony Marabella will be your staff, your panel. We're here for parole panel. We'll ask you questions. You can respond at the end. You can make a statement and take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
We have Alton McGinnis, Angel McGinnis, Alola Williams, Gary Caulfield, Brother Al Mims Jr. They'll speak. A few of those will speak at the appropriate time. John McGinnis, DOC number 349430. You are a second-class offender. Parole eligibility date 8/21/2021. Good time 1/29/2042. Full term 6/18/2042. A 45-year sentence for armed robbery. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, would you please answer Ms. Renatz's question?
Good morning, Mr. McGinnis.
Yes, ma'am. Good
How are,
morning.
how are you today?
I'm doing fine, ma'am.
I wanted just to say a few things before we start the interview process. I wanted to make it clear that we did receive some letters in our packet having to do with the non-unanimous jury issue. And so that's not something we're going to discuss at all today because that's not within our purview. And then I think that you, in one of your statements during the investigation process, you maybe during a clemency investigation, your statement indicates you profess your innocence and that's your right to do so, but our job is not to determine guilt or innocence today. All right, that we rely on the courts for that. So we're here today to just talk about what you've done since you've been in jail and are you of safety. So how old are you, sir?
46, ma'am.
How long you been in jail?
For 26 is going to be my 27th year.
22nd year?
22nd.
22nd. So almost half your life you've been in and out of jail.
Yeah, 27.
You said 27?
Yeah.
27. So over half.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you've been doing since, when I look at your, let me see, I have your programs, what the DOC provided was that you'd only done the 100 hours program, but I looked at, there was a certificate of achievement. You got your GED in 2006. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've done, let's see, graphic communications through the technical college, anger management, of course, the character counts. You've done Drug Dealers Anonymous. You served as a tutor. You worked in the chaplains department. And then I guess some of this was at DCI where you were in JC's program and various other faith-based programs. Of all the programs that you've been able to take advantage of, which one was the most meaningful for you?
I want to say it was probably my St. Kobe retreat or my Kairos program.
And why? Tell us why.
Because just being able to learn how to forgive myself and to move forward, learning how to love people and, just do the right thing. Because I was kind of hard on myself about ending up in this situation and the people that got hurt, the victim, my family members, everybody that was directly or indirectly, affected by my decisions, I was trying to just figure out a way to correct it, to make it right, to resolve the matter. And the rest of my programs, it was just trying to be a better person, become, better than what I was. I was young at the time. I made bad decisions. I made mistakes. I thought I was ready at the time. I thought I knew everything, but I realized I didn't. And the experience of just the programming and educate myself and getting to meet people and learn things, that was what helped.
So you do have a low risk assessment score. You have, I noticed you have 35 write-ups. 3 of those, though, what concerned me was, and usually early in someone's institutional confinement, we will see a lot of write-ups and then it tapers off. The 3 of yours were in 2021. Can you tell us what was going on with you there? One's contraband, defiance, aggravated disobedience, that was on one day. And then a third in December of 21, and another one the following day. There was more 30 something. What was going on?
Okay, and the incident in 21, I think it was around COVID time. The officer performed a shakedown. most of the time they pat us down and asked us to go to the front because it was a female. She actually had a mask covering her face, and after she pat me down, I proceeded to the front of the dormitory. I didn't actually hear what the officer said, and ultimately I mishandled, I mean, my hearing what she said, I acted inappropriately and I got rolled up. As far as the contraband, it was overturned because I didn't have any contraband. So ultimately I was convicted for not filing direct verbal order and I was found guilty. And my last write-up, which was communicating on my JPEG tablet, I had a friend asking me some questions concerning a legal matter, and I was rolled up for performing legal work. And I was guilty of that, communicating, because I have a legal degree, so I was just trying to help her by giving her some information.
How, what's your job? Do you have a job?
Basically, I go to different classes like IC3 and call out living in balance. I help out on the dormitory. I'm assigned to the field crew, but they don't actually have a field crew here. So I clean up on the dome. I go to whatever call out is available.
So you go to whatever open call out they may have that day if you don't have anything else to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about, do you have a history of substance abuse?
No, ma'am.
Before you came to jail, no?
No, I really, the only thing I took was medication because I had been shot. And that's as far as it go. I don't drink, I don't use drugs.
Well, didn't you just mention you go to Living in Balance sometimes?
I go to the call outs, even if I don't need it, I still try to get whatever I can get from them. Because in the world today, a lot of people on drugs and people try stuff, but everything's educational. So I try to obtain everything I could get to be a better person. Some people don't take the call outs because they feel they don't need it. I take everything that's available.
Tell us about, if you were successful today, what would be your transition plan?
My plan is to go and work with my mother, and I have a few other friends got businesses. Initially, that's what I'm going to do, and I want to start my own organization. I would like to have a youth program and basically teach them the things that I have learned, because at their age, they need the right information. Because when I was younger, I didn't know. And there's a lot of things that I didn't know that caused me to make the wrong choices. So I feel that if I would have known, I would avoid coming to prison. I see the news, I see what's going on, and I believe that if I was out, I could help somebody else and I could change a life. So my plan is to, start my own organization outside of work.
Is Elegant Designs, is that with your mother?
Yes, that's with my mother. I'm going to initially work with her.
And what is Elegant Designs?
She basically do event planning, catering, whatever event comes up, she basically makes a layout plan, design whatever it is that they ask and do the setup. And basically I'll be working with her.
Okay. We have several letters of support. We do have in the record an indication, well, the district attorney's office is opposed, citing a reason you have very limited programming. Warden, is there anything you can share with us about Mr. McGinnis?
John's in our honor program. He serves as a dorm rep. He was elected by his dormitory to be a representative for the OWC. The last write-ups that he was talking about, he was doing inmate counsel work. He was not an inmate counsel. That's where he got the charges for helping people with their legal concerns, even though he had a certificate for it, but he wasn't assigned. So he had, like I said, he's in our honor program and he was elected as a dorm rep for the OWC.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
All right. We'll hear from Miss Lola Williams. Miss Williams? Is she here? No? Do I not have?
Her name is Lola McGinnis.
McGinnis, okay, I get all these names are right. We need to try to get this right. I've had all kind of old names wrong.
One is separate.
Lola McGinnis? Okay, sorry about that, Mr. McGinnis.
That's better than that. That's right.
Miss McGinnis.
Hey, you talking about me, Elton McGinnis?
No?
Elton, I want to let the other guys talk, okay?
Wait, what's your name, ma'am?
Lola McGinnis?
That's the Lola McGinnis. That's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, it is a lot. I'm just overwhelmed. I want to say that I knew what I wanted to say.
We need you to speak loudly too, so he can hear you as well. if
Speak
you can.
loudly. To make a brief statement. Go ahead.
I speak for my family. Unfortunately, my husband is too ill to participate. I know my son to be a good person, and he was a helper. I'm not taking away from the seriousness of the crime, but my son has served 26 years. And I feel like he's ready to come home. He's made efforts to improve himself. He's taken all legal requirements. He's did the GED program, as he said earlier, and he did to the other inmates so they can obtain their GED program. He has a degree and he's not a certificate in paraprofessional. He has a structured and secure home to come to. Has multiple people that will give him support, including friends and family. He has options of secure employment for myself and others who I know, so that they would hire him as an employee. And I just pray that y'all will show mercy and let my son come home.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hear from Brother Al Mims.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of my former board members, board, Jim Wise, and I'm here because we need help. This young man has served time, and he has done it with dedication and commitment. If anybody ever seen hundreds that when I was on the board, if anybody's ready to be released, yeah, they got so much going on in New Orleans. This kind of different. He's not scared. You know, he's not perfect, but he's not scared to talk to these youngsters that could make a difference. And that's what I'm looking for. And I came here because the credibility that I have, I'm a law sheriff and parole board member. I wanted to let them know that I believe in him. I trust him. I'm gonna ask him to help me with something. And the kids understand what he's doing. When he talk, they're gonna listen. He's talking, and I'm talking about proactive. Yeah. I don't bear too many kids. I go to funeral every other week. I just want you to know that I'm here. Yeah, I took time. I'm busy schedule. I took time out of my schedule to come here because I would beg for this young man. He needs so much things, but he's part of the solution, a big part. And that's what I want you to remember that. And you're the big part.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, Gary.
Good evening.
My name is Gary Caulfield, Caulfield Construction. We're a third generation construction company. We specialize in all aspects of construction. Actually, I started construction when I was 12 years old. So John is a friend of mine. I've been knowing John 10 years at the most. And John have a great influence. I have concrete finishers, I have bricklayers, I have sheetrock people, but John was actually away from his mother. Her business could be a little bit, slower than mine. So hitting the pavement, I would use John in administration. John is a type of person, no nonsense. I would hire John immediately when he get out. But John, 26 years ago, I'm not sure that I would hire that guy. But this guy, I would hire him immediately. And in my closing, oftentimes I would wait on John to call. Because I'm having issues with people inside the business. I don't even have personal issues. This guy give me counsel, and I'd be like, how did you know that? And he kind of get, man, I'll read. That's all I do is read. I don't mess around with foolishness in here. So I'm really impressed with this guy, that the wisdom and knowledge he have, it did not come from books. I'm believing that it comes from God and his calling, his true calling, what God has actually called him to do. I really believe that he's in that season and he can be productive beyond, what we can imagine. And he's making a mistake if he gave it a chance.
Right,
Thank y'all for letting me speak.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll hear from Randy Myers. Randy Myers on the phone.
Yes, sir. Randy Myers, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. We're opposed to Mr. McGinnis's request. He was denied clemency in 2018. I think he clearly understood the importance of remaining discipline-free with no disciplinary reports. And in 2021, he gets 3 disciplinary reports. One was for contraband. That concerns me. I think that shows he's not ready to be released at this point. And also, I think since that time in 2018, he's basically had 3, true programs for rehabilitative purposes. One was pre-release 21 and did 12 steps in 2020. So we think he needs more programming, and we think he needs to go a longer distance, a longer period of time without having disciplinary reports. Those reasons we're opposed.
I thank you. Hi, John, would you like to make a statement on your behalf? Go ahead.
Basically, I want to say, that I would want to apologize to the victim and the victim family for my actions. I understand that, the seriousness of my charge, and even though I know I didn't have a gun, I know I didn't take anything, I'm still as guilty as the person that had the weapon. I'm sorry for my contributions to the crime. I apologize. I wish I could have gave back whatever was taken from him. I made a bad choice. It related to, my conduct with the write-up. The contraband charge, it was overturned because I didn't have any contraband. I appealed it and I proved that I didn't have any contraband. I had disciplinary issues, and when I was guilty, I regrouped and I tried to correct it. Once understanding what I was doing wrong, I made mistakes, but I never intentionally intend on doing anything wrong, and I'm not a violent person. I didn't intend on robbing the victim. I didn't intend on hurting anyone. I'm guilty of socializing with the wrong people, and basically, just a bad choice.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you for your comments. Now prepare to vote.
Yes.
Ms. Renaud.
Mr. McGinnis, I am disappointed in the write-ups. The warden did shed some light on the write-ups in 2021. I'm willing to give you a chance today. My vote today would be to grant, based on your low risk, the remarks by the warden, your low risk score, and really the length of incarceration. You've done some good community service work within the prison. So my vote would be to grant, with special conditions that you do perform 4 hours of community service work, at least 4 hours minimum with at-risk youth. You have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Report to your parole officer on a weekly basis for the first 4 weeks so y'all can get to know each other.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My vote is the same reasons.
Mr. Grant also going to vote to grant your parole for the same reasons as stated. You'll have community service 4 hours per month. Curfew 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and you report to your PO weekly for the first 4 weeks. Thank you, President Grant. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna let y'all know. I guarantee that.
And we'll do one more hearing after this, so stick around. But first we'll do some unpacking. I think it's so interesting to have watched this immediately after the prior hearing, Mr. Ridgeway, because in that case, that Ridgeway took a life, lit the body on fire, and he was given parole. And here's a man who's serving 27 years for not taking a life, for armed robbery. And we'll get into a little bit of the details of that. It was actually a home invasion, which is, I think, even more traumatic than an armed robbery. But he claims that he's innocent. He claims that he wasn't the one that had the weapon. Now, I can buy into that, but the idea that he's claiming that he didn't know it was going down and that he got with the wrong crowd at the end of it, I'm not sure I'd buy into that part. But for someone to go this long and insist that they were innocent, and he sent documents to, letters saying it, and I tend to believe it because he should know that it's simply not in his best interest to lie to parole board. He might not know that, but I think that he probably would, but let's go. So, basically there's not much in here, but it was his appeal. So on June 17th, 1997, they say that Herbert, who's the victim, was robbed at gunpoint in his home. So he was watching television, minding his own business, when a girl later identified as Marinish. Anyways, we will talk about her later because it's interesting. Arrived at his door and asked to use his phone. As she was using the phone, two men forced their way in and grabbed Boynes. One of them was carrying a weapon, and he slapped Boynes and put the weapon to his head. Boynes was taken into the kitchen, tied up, and blindfolded, right? So this is so traumatic, scary, life-changing event. At trial, he testified that 3 people robbed him approximately $4,000 and his truck. He further testified that the defendant was the one of the 2 men who came into the apartment. But he did not say which man was holding the weapon, right? The only person, from my understanding, who put the weapon in his hand was his co-defendant, the girl who came into the room to use the telephone. She admitted that she went into the apartment to use the phone and that she was involved in the armed robbery. She also testified that the defendant was the one of the 2 men involved. She further testified that the weapon which was used belonged to the defendant. Now, that she is the only one that actually puts the weapon in his hand, which I don't think it would have made any difference as far as sentencing. I don't think they would have cared. So, I think that it's probably is a moot point, and him asking for and claiming that he's innocent is then taking it a step further and saying he had no idea what was going down. And that part I just can't buy into. I just can't, because, like, you know, you're there, you're in the apartment with him, but we don't hear any other details. But that's what I assume he was kind of going with him being innocent. And so it's probably a moot point. He was involved whether he was holding the weapon or not. But anyways, they did throw the book at him. They gave him, I think it was a 35-year sentence. And then after the sentence, they came and added another 10 years because it was the second offense. And that, I don't know how a second offense made him an habitual offender, but it did. And at least from what I read. Now, what was interesting about this is that this was a bunch. So this happened, this case happened in 1997. Then we see another case where she is locked away for 18 years when she was just 18 years old, decided in 2002, but it happened in year, I think, 2000. So to put that into perspective, I think she was 15 years old at the time that she was involved in this armed home invasion. The one who, the girl who said, I need to use a phone. So this is, if I'm confusing you, maybe this is her, Miss, I'm going to call her, no, I'm just going to butcher it. I'll just call her Miss both the names are difficult. Francois. I'll call her the girl. I don't know. So she was 17 at the time of the offense for this trial, which was also an armed robbery. She was with another guy who pulled a weapon out and robbed someone and took their car, and she was given an 18-year sentence. And they basically appealed because it says she's a juvenile, but they brought up she had a long laundry list of previous record. But this case that she testified against her co-defendant was not listed on her record. She was basically, for testifying against him, it seems that she was allowed to walk free from it. And because she was, I guess, so young. So I don't know, just to bring that up, if you want to believe that he didn't have a weapon, I guess the point I'm trying to get away with is that the only person that put the weapon in his hand was this, I guess, 15 or 14-year-old girl who ended up getting locked up for 18 years when she was 17 years old, for basically, doing something similar. But we can do one more hearing. And again, I'm happy that it wasn't a good interview. I shouldn't say I felt great about it. He did have those 3 write-ups. Randy shows up out of nowhere, right? Like, he's not even on the camera. So Randy's everywhere. Randy Meyer. I used to get really hard on him because I would say, why aren't you showing up for the cockroach cases? But it's only because it's not in his parish. He basically shows up to every crime in his parish. Now, why he would want to keep someone locked up who's been locked up for that long, 27 years, because he had 3 write-ups in 2021, I don't agree with. Remember, it's 2021. It's really hard to do things really well. So if you go from 2021, then you have 2022, and near the end of 2023, you're halfway through without a write-up, that's doing a good job. I mean, you're trying hard. It shouldn't just be like, oh, he needs more years without a write-up. I don't know. I think it's a little unfair. It's not an easy thing to go write-up free, and he's been locked up so long. And it's just so different. You don't have a family sitting there crying, saying, this person took my life, or it's like he serves his time, in my opinion. Now it's on him, and he said he won't let them down. So hopefully we don't see him again. So we'll do one more hearing. It's let me just pull it up. I have like a list of hearings that I need to do. I want to see if I can mix it up. You want to do a Roche hearing? See if we can do it. I don't know. Hold on one second while I prepare this hearing. I feel like I've done this one. Here's the problem. I'll tell you the problem. The problem is when I've done now almost 600 hearings, they do start to kind of blend together. Another problem is that I oftentimes watch the hearing or listen to it, but don't record it. So then when I go to look at it again, I'm like, wait a minute, I've done this hearing, but maybe I didn't. I just think I did because I've listened to it. And so what I do is I search their DOC number in the dashboard. If it doesn't show up, I just have to assume that I didn't do the hearing. But it's not foolproof because sometimes the dashboard doesn't work, or maybe I didn't type in the DOC number. But hopefully we didn't do this one.
Roche, would you answer his question?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Livemore.
Good morning.
Nice seeing you again.
Yes, sir. Same here.
Good. Do you know how often an offender is denied, and when he comes back for rehearing, he gets the same panel? The same 3 persons sat on your panel in 2021, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your last hearing was on February 24th, 2021. You were denied by a vote of 2-1, and I was the culprit. And hope you have better luck today.
I pray we do.
Good. You were denied based upon you being having an extensive criminal background. You've been convicted of 6 felonies, a terrible supervision record. You've been revoked at least 6 times. You have a high risk assessment, and you have expressed opposition from law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
That's about right.
That sounds right, but
So basically, none of those things have changed. None of those things have changed. But we're going to see what you've done since the last hearing. So let's concentrate on the period between 2021 and now. How many programs have you completed since your last hearing?
since my last hearing, I completed the Tyro program, which was leadership skills. And I also got the certification through headquarters to facilitate such programs that they have there, which I was a facilitator for NAAA up until the pandemic. And I've also taken Cage Your Age. And actually, I'm maxed out on everything. I'm up to 950 days of CTRP credits. The last time I was here, I was up before the board. I had 765 days, I believe. So now I'm told I'm maxed out. There's nothing else I can really earn. But
I've not seen 950 days of credit. That's outstanding. You've been at Rayburn for 6 years. You live in an honor dormitory. How many write-ups have you had since the last hearing?
I haven't had any write-ups in over 4 years.
Okay. Have you participated in any organization since the last parole hearing?
Publication. Other than church, church and the program that I've taken.
Okay. Have you facilitated any program?
I facilitate the AANA.
Okay. So any other community service?
No, sir, other than that, no, sir.
Warden Bickham, give me some input on his performance and behavior since the last hearing.
Well, just go back and give you the whole history on him. We did a waiver on Kris 4 years ago to make him a trustee. He's been working as a trustee here. I mean, he had too much time, but we did the waiver to make him a trustee. He's not eligible to go off the grounds based on the amount of time he's got to serve, but he works for us pretty much 7 days a week. He's one of our main tractor drivers. We use him all the time. He's in our honor program. He does have, on the record I have, he has completed enough factors to get 950 days good time credit, even though he doesn't, it's not a, he's maxed out, he's going over. We did have a couple of situations back at the tractor shed that we became aware of, and we were, during our investigation, he distanced himself from all that. It was things that in the past he may have been involved in, but we were able to clear all that up. I mean, I've got to speak up for him today.
Now, Warren, can you replace Mr. Livemore?
I can probably find somebody else who can drive a tractor, but not as with the, Kris has been loyal to us out there. He is, and y'all denying him would help us out, but I'm not going to go there with him. I can find somebody else to drive a tractor, but I can't find anybody else who's been as honest and dependable and reliable as he's been. I don't figure.
I'll be willing to teach the next guy before I leave, if that's okay.
Warren Bickham, you might have to start looking. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We figured as much. We figured as much.
All right. I see that Mr. Carl is here. We'd like to hear from him now. If you're still on mute, sir.
See him up there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
I realized that I missed we kind of skipped ahead. So if you're curious what he's in for, he has a 30-year sentence with his date completing in 2043, but he's a 6th or 8th time felony offender, and he got the habitual sentence. But he was initially locked up for simple burglary, and then he went in a car chase with the police car, so they basically racked up all of the things. So he's like aggravated flight and blocking a highway and all that stuff. But yeah, sorry about that. I realize we don't know what he's in for.
I'm not really savvy on these phones. I'm glad I have you. No, he's my brother, and he works with me. He works hard. He's a good kid. He's a good guy. I miss him so much. I need him here. I'm gonna make him work when he gets here. I'm gonna make him work hard. When we go there, when we speak on the phone, he's very, very soft-spoken. I mean, he has no harsh words, anything like that. He's probably kicks me in the butt and gets me going on a down day more than I would have done in the past and all that. But I hope that the board seeks that he's served all he has and done all he had to do, and I really believe that he's ready for the real world again. And I would appreciate if y'all would consider it. I really would.
Yes, sir, and thank you. And we do have a record, a letter in the record from your sister-in-law. Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you both being here today. Mr. Kris, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we go?
I would just like to say that I'm sorry to to the victims and everybody that's been affected by my actions back then. That's not the person sitting here today. I put the work in. I've been honest and truthful to myself. And I'm just ready to go home and see my family. I'm sorry to everybody. I wish I could change the hands of time and go back and do it all over again, because I would have made much better decisions, but I can't do that. The only thing I can do is fix myself moving forward. And I feel in my heart of hearts, I've done that. I'm not going, I'm 63 years old. I want to spend the rest of my life with my family. And I would appreciate all y'all's consideration towards this parole. I really would. I appreciate it. I just want to take all you get.
All right, well, the case is decided, Mr. Roche, he's gonna be voting first.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Livemore, based on the outstanding remarks by Warden Bickham, you have no disciplinary issues in the last 4 or 5 years. And my vote is to grant your request today. And I'm going to use the same conditions as Mrs. Wise gave you on the first hearing. I want you to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I want you to attend AA meetings. At first, 90 meetings in 90 days. 90 meetings in 90 days. After the 90 days, I want you to attend 3 times a week. I want you to report to your parole officer weekly for the first 90 days. That's in conjunction with your NAAA. Be familiar with your parole officer. So that is your safety valve. If anything goes wrong, your parole officer is your friend and will help you, and not someone who's trying to put you back in jail.
Understand?
And then after 6 months, when all of the NA is finished on a daily basis, I want you to do 4 hours of community service. Get with your pastor, get with your parole officer, and do some kind of community service 4 hours a month. Good luck.
Thank you. Hey, just by the way, that was some of my goals.
You gotta vote, gotta finish voting, this is fine. All right, Mr. Kris, I'm delighted to be able to vote to grant you for a second time. You have a good transition plan with the good family support. The warden comments were positive, and ones that he spoke up for you, and 950 hours of programming. I do want to state that in the investigation that probation parole did, one of your victims wants $828 in restitution. So when you get back to the office, begin working on that when you get out in the community. After a year or so, just start trying to plow away at that. Like you said, you want to help, you want to give back to the community. Best wishes to you, sir. All right. My vote is the same. So, parole today. You better thank Warden Bickham then. You better work real fast on training somebody. You got just a little time to do. Good luck, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If I could shake your hand.
What did the warden say? Something about shaking his hand? I missed it. We could do one more after this if you want to. It's a 15-minute one. I feel like this was a little bit short, but here's the picture. So he was arrested after leading police in a high-speed chase. So he was wanted in connection with a vehicle burglary that led police in a high-speed chase. He was spotted driving his 1992 Mercury Grand Marquis. Do you remember that car? It's like a boat. I liked it. I drove it once. I actually drove it when I was a teenager. Someone paid me to drive it from one state to another state, and I did that, and I enjoyed driving it. It was like a 20-hour drive, but really like a boat. They don't make them like that anymore. I know some people say it's a piece of junk car, but I still enjoyed it. And let's see. At about 85 miles an hour, a deputy immediately made a U-turn, gave chase, but he lost sight of him. The deputy spotted him a short time later on Highway 59, attempted to initiate a traffic stop. However, he continued going and through traffic, driving against traffic. We drove against traffic. Whoa, this is like one of those crazy car chases. He went over 120 miles an hour, which is possible. And it was a big V8. I wouldn't suggest doing it. I can't imagine doing 120 in the Grand Marquis, swerving and getting away with it. Oh, he didn't get away with it. He crashed his car into another vehicle. 4 people in the other vehicle were injured and taken to hospital. How terrifying is that? Then he fled the scene after the crash, hid under a stack of boxes, probably not a great hiding place. It wasn't. He was found and taken into custody. He was arrested on charges of Pepsi Cola possession, aggravated flight of an officer, distribution of alleged narcotic without a prescription, possession of paraphernalia, aggravated obstruction of a highway, commerce. Yep, so this is where they threw the book at him. And he was also booked on 2 fugitive charges on outstanding misdemeanors. So obviously he has an addiction problem, which they addressed 90 sessions in 90 days, which is fine. I'm saying, it's hard to do, but it's probably a good way to build relationships, strong relationships in the AA, getting that sponsor, building the habits, right? It cements it. It makes it, I think, a part of you and increases the odds that he's going to continue to do it and stay out of trouble. He's not a young man. He's 63 years old, so he shouldn't be in prison, and hopefully this is the last time we'll ever see him. We can do one more hearing. I'm happy with the results. I don't know how you feel, but I liked it. But yeah, let's do this other hearing. And
convening, and we are at Webster Parish Correctional Center, and today is Thursday, April 27th, 2023, and it is 12:29 p.m. Good afternoon. With the staff at Webster, please introduce yourself for the record.
Is Major Culpepper?
All right, good to see you, Major. Thanks for accommodating us today. We have a couple of cases, I believe, at your facility. First on my list is Mr. Cooper.
Yes, ma'am.
That be Mr. Cooper. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for asking. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Darkeldrius Cooper, DOC number 481-330.
Darkeldrius.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Here for a parole hearing. You've been here before. This is a rehearing. You were heard previously. Is that right? And were denied?
No, ma'am. I never was brought up. This is my first. This is my first time in front of y'all.
Okay. Well, there's an indication that this is a rehearing, but I couldn't find it, so I was going to ask you about it. So this is your first go-round. So let me read some identifying information into the record. You are classified as a 3rd felony offender. You're currently serving a 17-year sentence. Well, it's 17 years, 8 months, and 18 days. You have a parole eligibility date, which is at the discretion of the board, I believe, because you were revoked. So, you have a good time date, which is September 15, 2023. Full term is in 2035. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your crimes, you were sentenced initially 2009, distribution of cocaine. That's the 17-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
Good time, and then you were revoked in January of 2020 for a new felony conviction, possession of meth. You also have a 2019 conviction, illegal possession of stolen things in Bossier. That was a 1-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
So your case is assigned to me, so I'm going to take the lead on the interview. I do see that you have 345 days of good time credits. Now, was that during this period of supervision?
Yes, ma'am.
How long you been in jail? Let's see, I guess it's 2020.
I've been in jail since September the 28th of 2018.
Right, and so the new conviction in 2020 was for something that happened when?
It had to happen at 18. I'm gonna say I think August of 18.
I can't find it. Why were you revoked? Because of the new conviction, right?
Ma'am.
You absconded in 2018. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I did. I hadn't reported, so he considered it to be a scoundrel.
All right. So since you've been in jail this go round, what programs have you been able to complete?
I took the Steve Hart program, and I took parenting.
So I see you finished the Steve Hall program in 2021.
Yes, ma'am. And strengthening family. I took strengthening family.
Oh, good.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
tell me what you learned through the Steve Hall program, because I see you began using alcohol and marijuana at least at an early age. What did you learn through that program?
I learned how to, you know what I'm saying, find better ways to deal with my addiction and not use marijuana to cope with the stresses of life that I done experienced in my life. So, I mean, the Steve Hart program really like helped me to rehabilitate myself and find myself. I let alone me taking the screening family, preparing myself, being that I'm a first-time father, it's preparing me to be ready to go out there and take care of my daughter.
How old's your daughter?
She's 4 years old, ma'am.
She was born right before you came to jail, or?
Ma'am, I was with her for 3 months, and I come to jail, and I've been in jail all the way up to this point. She'll be 5 this coming June. Her mother just passed August the 13th, so I had to get a lawyer and everything to gain custody of her. And she's currently with my fiance and my mother right now, waiting on me to come home to do my fatherly duties.
Yeah, you got to establish a relationship with her.
Yes, ma'am. The best I can over the phone.
So when you were at the Steve Hoyle program, did they give you any recommendations like for aftercare treatment or what's going to help you succeed, stay away from drugs altogether?
Yes, ma'am. They gave me a lot of packages that I can, know what I'm saying, look into when I get out of here to help me.
Give me an example. What's your plan? Surely by now you've made your own.
Okay, I plan to go and drive trucks. I want to be a truck driver. So I want to get connected with this company called Wells. And they was going to let me come through the schooling and help me get my CDLs and eventually, you know what I'm saying, become a owner operator down the road. So that's what I plan to do myself, you know what I mean? But I just have to get out and get stable and have a chance to do it.
Yeah, well, good. That sounds like a plan. But what I was interested in is your plan to stay off drugs.
Oh, I'm going to stay off drugs because I need to be there to take care of my daughter. So I've been working at Clement right now for 19 months, you know what I mean? And we constantly do drug testing down here. And I'm not failing no drug tests or none of that. So I know I just got to stay away from the drugs. The drugs ain't helping me. That's what caused me to come back to jail this time. Caused me to be away from my daughter for the moment of time that I've been away from her. So, I mean, I give up on it. I'm tired. I'm just tired. That's my plan, to keep God first, keep my daughter first, and do what I got to do and make sure I don't come back to jail.
You've been in work release about 1.5 years?
Yes, ma'am, 19 months.
And where is it you said you're working?
At Clement Industries, right here in Sibley.
And what do you?
I'm a finisher. I like pipe trailers. I put lights on trailers, tires and decals and run main leads to help the trailer to operate.
I see. And what's your plan to support yourself when you go home?
Well, currently I'm working at Clement until a truck driving company would take me, and then I'll put my 2 weeks notice in and go on to the truck driving thing. But as of now, Clement gonna be my job until I can find something better.
So they've agreed to keep you on?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not convinced about your staying sober.
Well, ma'am, I guarantee you, if I'm granted the chance by you, you won't see me no more. I'm gonna stay sober, you know, and I've been working on it now. I went through courses. I pray a lot, you know what I'm saying? I even sit down and have conversations with dudes in the dorm now, you know, to help them, and they help me. We helping each other. We leaning on each other, keeping each other.
When's the last time you had a drug test with your employer?
When I first started, so I'm gonna say like 19 months ago. I could take one right now if they want me to. I'm talking about they can pull up hair follicles, they can take my blood, or I can urine in the cup.
Yeah. All right, let me ask the major. Major, do you know Mr. Cooper? Is there anything you can tell us about him?
No, I have Mr. Johnson here too from the classes and stuff that he's went to. But he's not had no write-ups. He's been fabulous with work release, because I mean he worked under me when I was over the work release for a little while, and then I went back to doing all the court call stuff and IT stuff. So he's been out there working, and he ain't failed no drug tests that we've given him so far. So
That's good. Yeah, we'd like to hear from the teacher, I guess.
Hey, this is Mr. Johnson. I run the Steve Hall program. I apologize for being tardy. Mr. Cooper did graduate in August of 2021. And not only that, but I would like to say that he worked for us while we were doing that. He helped make the books and keep the program running. And he did a fantastic job while he was there. I would rarely say that, but it's true. So he did that, and he did parenting. And we have no complaints. There was nothing in his file that said that there was any issue during his time of treatment, which was 6 months. 9 months. It was 9 months, yeah.
9 months.
So did the 9-month program?
Yes, ma'am. We at the Webster, we very rarely offer 9 months, but he got the chance to do that.
Oh, good. So is there like a aftercare plan that y'all give them?
So we do for guys who are closer to going home, because there's a parole officer to give that to. When you have somebody like Mr. Cooper, where they're not really changing to anyone's custody, they're not really given a plan. But in the event that you guys want one, we can absolutely make one and pass it on to someone.
Okay, great. That's what I need to hear. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Mr. Johnson. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Cooper, is there anything to say to us before we vote?
I just want to thank y'all for giving me this chance, you know, to come before y'all and y'all consider whatever y'all gonna consider pertaining to me. And I'm most definitely grateful that y'all probably gonna give me a chance to go and be back in my daughter's life. But I just want y'all to know, I done learned my lesson from this, you know, and I hate it with everything in me being away from my daughter, bro. So I know I got to do the right thing so I can be there for her. So I'm prepared for her. I'm ready to show myself and y'all that I'm gonna do the right thing.
All right. Well, let me ask your family. We'll hear from them before we vote. First, we want to hear from mother, Miss Esther Cooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Must be with your sister-in-law.
Hello?
Yes.
Y'all are together. Okay. Can we hear from Miss Esther?
It's me. Hi.
Go ahead, ma'am. What would you like us to know about your son?
I think he's gonna do well. His what's gonna make him do well this time is he got that baby. That's his first baby, and he loved her dearly, and he needs to be with her. And also, as far as his addiction is concerned, I'm a recovering addict myself, an alcoholic. Okay, I can be there for his support as far as trying to, making sure he stays sober.
Good. Well, good. We appreciate it. Thank you. And Ms. Thomas, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to say that I think that he will do right this time. Like I said, he has his daughter and we're all helping with her, but she really needs her father.
And you are his sister-in-law?
Yes, ma'am. I've been with his brother for 2 years.
Okay, well, good. Well, thanks for helping facilitate the Zoom meeting. Now,
Yes.
is Tawanda White there? No, is she? Oh, I see she's on another connection. Ms. White, could we hear from you, please? There you are. Good. Go ahead, ma'am. You have to unmute your microphone.
Oh, she's not on now.
There it is. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, well, Miss White, his fiance, she was disconnected somehow, but I am his sister, Javisha Cooper.
Okay.
Yes,
Is there
ma'am.
anything you want to say?
Yeah, his mindset has changed. Our conversations since he's been incarcerated this last time is completely different from the last time, and he has matured a lot, and his circumstances has forced him to grow up and to be a man and to be a father for my niece who lost her mom, and she got all of us who is not her mama, her dad, but Darkeldrius, he got a strong head. And like I say, his circumstances have changed. And his focus now is being there for that connection with his daughter, to raise her, to teach her, because she was a premature child, so she got a lot of challenges. So like autism, she's been tested for that. ADHD, she's diagnosed with that. And the challenges on us is hard. And he's been over the phone when he able to talk to us, to talk to his daughter, to calm her down. So over the phone, they have a connection, but he really needs to be there with her so he can get that physical connection. They got the spiritual connection. And like I say, he done grew a lot. I'm his little sister and I know him better than I know himself, I believe. And he has blew my mind with the change that he has encountered this last time. And I just know that he's going to do well. Yes, ma'am, when he come home.
That's good to hear. It looks like maybe we have Ms. White is on now, ma'am. There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What would you like us to know?
Well, I'm his fiance, and at the moment I've currently moved to help with his daughter. Like his sister was saying, her mom has passed, and I came to help out with her. But as far as Darkeldrius, he has totally blew our mind and changed this time. And, he helps us resort out problems, try to resolve a problem. It's always a spiritual tip with him. And from what we have all saw, he's like a totally different person. And I'm pretty sure if y'all let him out this time, you would know for sure that he has done very well. He has learned. He has been through a lot of programs in the class. I mean, during his jail sentencing time, as far as he's been incarcerated. But like I said, he really, this is his daughter, my Kelsius, and we kind of have her now. And she really, really loves her daddy. She talks to him over the phone when he can. And we're trying to get them, because her mom passed when she was, last year. And so he's really all she got left besides us. And, we can only do so much, but how a child needs a father.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I think we are prepared to vote. I'll be voting first. Mr. Cooper.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a beautiful daughter.
Thank you, ma'am.
I was impressed by what Mr. Johnson said in your participation in class. I was impressed by what the major said, that you're doing really well. Obviously, you're doing well in work release. And I'm glad they're willing to keep you on till maybe something different happens. But don't go too fast on that. Stay where what you know. My vote's going to be to grant your parole. I would like for the Steve Paul program to develop you an aftercare plan and that you comply with that plan. I'm going to make that a special condition of your parole. And that addition that you enroll in, get with your PO and enroll in a parenting class.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just one vote. It's my vote. Roche?
Mr. Cooper,
Yes, sir.
you have a cutie. She's very cute.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
My vote is the same, for the same reasons. And I would add one condition, that
Yes,
you have,
ma'am.
that you have a
Madam Secretary.
person for 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mrs. Rice.
Mr. Cooper, I like the way you prepare for this day. You prepare very well. You presented very well today. You just gotta keep it up. Just
Yes,
gotta
ma'am.
keep it up. It's a lot of responsibility. Now, if you need counseling or somebody to talk to, ask for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because parenting and being a single parent, that's hard. I'm not gonna recommend, but you need to ask for it if you find yourself getting kind of stressed, because there's a lot going on out here right now. So my vote is to grant for the reasons I already stated, and I concur with all the conditions that have been set forth.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, sir. Parole, good luck.
Okay, thank y'all.
I again feel like I've done this hearing before, but I don't know. Have you seen it yet? Again, it could be the problem that I just I've watched it but didn't comment. So how do you feel about this one? I'm happy. I do have the court transcripts. So he served 17 years, 8 months. Full term would have been till 2035. He was revoked and then sentenced again. So I guess we have seen him come in and out of prison. What was interesting to me is that he went through Steve Hoyle, but doesn't have any sobriety plan. He wasn't saying, okay, I'm going to go to AA and NA. He wasn't following that protocol that they want to hear. And also the protocol that I think one would expect to be indoctrinated in someone after graduating Steve Hoyle. I think he's lucky Mr. Mirabella wasn't here, because he might have denied him. Then on the flip side, he's kicking butt. He's doing great on work release. He's a hard worker. Interesting that they haven't tested him in 19 months. I'm just surprised that they don't have some type of regular testing thing going on. At least, if not in the jail or in the prison, but at the work release, but they're not. I wouldn't hold that against him. I do believe him entirely when he says, do a hair follicle test, do any test you want. And I do think he's doing great, and I am rooting for him. It's something interesting with his case that got him locked up. It's not I guess what's interesting is that he pled guilty. So they make sure I have the right person here, because I guess this is his initial crime, not the revocation. This is 2010. It was rendered. It happened so they in 2008, they actually they wanted to bust him. He's a small-time dealer, but they wanted to bust him. They had a confidential informant make 2 purchases. They had it recorded, video and audio, and then they used that to prosecute him. And what he did is he pled guilty. He pled guilty instead of going to court. And they gave him a 27-year sentence to run on each. So a 27-year hard labor on each count to run concurrently without the benefit of probation or suspension of sentence for the first 2 years. His motion to reconsider the sentence, which urged only excessive of sentence, was denied. So he pled guilty expecting something else. And the judge said no way and threw the book at him. And he appealed, because he's allowed to appeal the sentence. And of course they denied. If you're a true crime person, if you watch all of these court tube stuff, and how often you do see people who take these plea deals because the prosecutor recommends a shorter sentence. You're expecting maybe 7 years or 10 years. And then the judge says, no way, not happening. You have the right to appeal. And they just denied it. So your appeal goes nowhere. But you might argue it ended up turning well for him. He somehow got the opportunity to go to work release. And well, not somehow, he's been locked up a long time, and he's made the best of it. He's earned his freedom, and I think it's a great way to end this 2-hour marathon, so to speak. I'll put the links in the description. If you do like these multiple hearings, I did create a playlist. The playlist is called Multiple Hearings, so you can go in the playlist and see if there's any multiple hearings that you haven't seen yet. But otherwise, today is Thursday at the time of this recording. Thank you, beautiful mods, and have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Sunday. We do these premieres Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hope to see you in the live chat, and hope that you're learning something along with me and everyone else here watching these parole hearings. And revocation hearings and commutation hearings. But with that, I'll let you go.